and welcome to another edition of There's a Will. Hey, it's my show, but we do it for you. My guest today, an exciting man, a man that I have a lot of respect for. He's a man who's traveled the world, he's done exciting things, but the best part about him is he's a Texas man, and I am a Virginia man, and that appeals to me. Now, if you don't know something about the South, you're about to find out as I introduce to you one of my favorite people in the world. His name is Mark Rafael. He's right here next to me. There he is.
Hey, Will.
How you doing, man? Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Was that okay? What I just said?
Thank you very much.
That was all right, what I said?
Perfect.
Yeah, okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Will.
Thank you very much.
Happy New Year, Poland Daily.
Yep.
Happy New Year, people behind the, working the cameras, the producers. Thank you, Poland. Thank you, Will. It's great to be here. And, well, my resolution is going pretty well. My resolution was not to make a resolution in 2019. How's your resolution?
Yeah, I made a resolution not to procrastinate, but I already put it off till next year.
Okay.
That's
so that was my resolution. We're on the same track. Thank you for the invitation. I'm glad to speak to you and to your viewers.
Yeah.
Will.
It's good to see you, man.
Good to be here. Good. What's the name of the show?
There's a Will.
Okay.
I don't know why they call it that.
All right.
It wasn't my idea.
Let me, it used to be in the old
I thought
days.
it should have been called the greatest talk show of all time.
Yeah.
But somehow they didn't like that.
Easily.
Yeah.
But in the they used to say, where there's a will, there's a way.
Okay.
Now they say, where there's a will, there's a relative.
There's a relative?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I get it.
So,
because a will, that's the thing they get when you die. You wrote some things, and then your family comes and argues about it.
Testament in Polish,
a
right?
testament.
A will, yeah. So
yeah.
it used to be a will away. Now there's a relative all of a sudden.
Where there's a will,
but you
there's
know
a
about
relative.
that coming from Southern aristocracy.
Oh, well.
You're a landed gentry. You've got a lot of acres there, so just be careful.
I got a lot of acres and pains.
There's going to be relatives.
A lot they acres and pains.
Will,
that's me.
There's going to be relatives.
They'll all come to the party. Good Lord.
Yeah.
They make it sound more exciting than it is.
Yeah.
So you've come to Poland this time. Excuse me, I have a little hot, I call it Hot Joe.
Okay, Johnny.
Yeah, call it.
Oh, yeah.
A little Hot Joe.
Okay. Morning Joe.
Yeah, Morning Joe.
Yeah.
You're in Poland this time.
Yeah.
For a couple of weeks, but why are you here? I mean, apart from the fact that you have your father, Polish, your mother's Italian, but you have an allegiance. What are you doing here?
All right. Well, this, of course, is for any person of Polish heritage. It's been a great year. It's the centenary, of Polish independence, but it's also the centenary of my father's birth. And my father, Tadeusz NOWAKOWSKI, who some of the viewers may know, and I'll tell you a little about him. It's also his centenary. Mm-hmm. So my father was an emigre writer, a fine writer, as I learned growing up. One of the masters of the Polish language, but he was a forbidden fruit in the sense that he wasn't published in Poland in the second half of the century due to the censorship in the PRL, baby.
Yeah.
The PRL said no to Tadeusz NOWAKOWSKI.
Yeah.
So I go by the name of Mark Rafael, but I'm Marek Rafał NOWAKOWSKI. But since I work in the global South, I stick to Mark Rafael. It's a little easier that way, just to get things straight.
Simpler.
With the good viewers. So
and they think you're French, don't they?
They can look. I mean, it's archangelic, right? Whatever that name. That's my second. So I could come from anywhere.
Yeah.
But that's it. I mean, why did the Brazilian soccer players have? Why are they Kaká, João Carlos, Dani Silva? If you look at their names,
Maradona.
Maradona. There you go. I mean, his name. These guys have names that are like 25 syllables long. Anyway.
I thought he was a pop singer at first.
Who? Diego?
Yeah. Maradona.
Diego Armando Maradona.
Madonna.
Serious guy.
Yeah. I guess they
born the same day as me, and he's healthy today.
Socrates. He was a fan.
Socrates.
Yeah, he was the great
Brazilian, the great.
Yeah.
And he wore they used to wear those tight shorts back in the 70s.
They did. Yeah.
I mean, it's unthinkable. You think how things have gone in the world.
Yeah.
Why did they wear tight shorts in the 70s? I mean, not that that's a theme we're going to dwell on.
No, I don't want to dwell. I mean, we could. But we need an expert.
But now it's about
sports clothing.
It's about this big, you know, what the Polish call gacie, you know, the full size knee length, you know.
Yeah.
It's like John Kerry suits, you know. I never got why John Kerry's jackets are down to his knees, and he's got the, you know, like you got to keep things tight. You
got
know?
to keep things. Yeah, that's what I say. My haberdasher.
That's your haberdasher.
What does that mean?
Haberdasher. That's a good question.
Did I say that right?
Educate me.
Is that like? I'm not sure what it means.
Yeah.
It's like somebody who mashes potatoes for a living. I don't know. Yeah. I have no idea.
Oh, there was in the day of powdered, you know, mashed potato.
My tailor. I should say. I don't have a tailor. This is
long story short. Yeah. You asked the question. Let's keep, you know.
Let's keep focused on what you're doing.
Stay focused.
Yeah.
It was my father's centenary, and my dad, Tadeusz NOWAKOWSKI, look him up, wrote a lovely book called, a difficult book, but it's a good book called Camp of All Saints. It was published in the 60s, and Dad was recognized, since he couldn't come to Poland, recognized especially in Germany, in the United States. The book was translated in Swedish, in a number of languages. That particular book was, of course, described his own experience. My dad was a concentration camp inhabitant, victim. And then, however, the Camp of All Saints are the camps.
He was a survivor, though.
He was a survivor, that's right. Yeah. Father was, describes in the Camp of All Saints the purgatory that many of the people who were liberated in 1945, my dad was liberated, 6'3" and you know, 125 pounds, just living flesh. Yeah. But they were taken to Holland. In Holland, the so-called DPs, displaced persons, much like today, they were looked after by the Allies, so to speak, and there were DP camps, displaced persons camps, on the German-Dutch border. There were millions of people there. And the Poles, as many of the viewers will know, had a number of camps. One was called Maczków. Maczków because General Maczek, who came from Scotland and liberated, during the invasion, the Allied invasion, liberated a good part of the coming through France, Falaise, moving out, pushing the Germans back. Then the Poles had their displaced persons camps there. Now, the Camp of All Saints, the novel that I'm referring to, is set there in this no man's land after the concentration camp victims were freed, but they were there for many, many, many years, healing, right? But inside camp life, they were discussing, whoa, what was the
tip over the desk?
Yeah, that's it. What was
an earthquake? Minor earthquake.
Yeah, because this
tremor.
The stuff I guess stuff we talk is so significant
that
they're
earth-shattering.
No, but mind you, they had to think about what came next, and thinking about what comes next after you're supposed to be gone, a goner. Then you're recasting plans, and those discussions among the people in the camp, in the bunk beds, when they're talking about what are you going to do next? So basically you've been granted another life, another future, and that's the Camp of All Saints, Tadeusz NOWAKOWSKI. Fine book, translated. You can find them. There's copies out there on
the Amazon.
You know where. I didn't want to say. But anyway,
no,
that's my dad. And then we'll talk about Radio Free Europe in Munich.
They control the world. We can acknowledge it.
Who?
The one I just said. The jungle name.
The jungle, yeah. The jungle.
Jungle name.
Yeah, the jungle.
The biggest
name.
Jungle.
Yeah. But
it's appropriate, isn't it?
I thought the Amazons, as in the females, control the world. Because they do. It's the end of men, Will.
What?
The end of men.
Nobody told me.
Yeah. Read Hannah.
What do I got to do?
By the way, Hannah Rosen, a friend of mine, has a book out called The End of Men. We're done.
Really?
Especially middle-aged guys like us who can't, you know what our problem is?
Speak for yourself. I'm only 39.
Right. Yeah,
That's middle age.
39 with 20 years of experience. I use that joke too. But anyway, we can't jump. White man can't jump.
Nah.
Eastern Europeans,
yeah.
Can they jump?
I don't know. I guess they can play basketball. Yeah.
Just answering your question. Why did I come? I've come to Bydgoszcz, Poland, good city. That was my dad's hometown. Olsztyn is the other city. He was actually born in Olsztyn, but grew up in Bydgoszcz. And those two cities have made my father, my dear sweet dad, honorary citizen. So it behooves me as the heir, not to the fortune, but to the legacy, to look after that. And in those cities, there were so many things. So plays were read, books were read, poetry was read. What better way to bring a writer back to life, right? Mm-hmm. So the centenary of Tadeusz NOWAKOWSKI is why I have been here. And of course, the beautiful Christmas holiday. And Christmas in Poland is like nowhere else in the world.
Beautiful, isn't it?
So this is now, we're in the middle of January. I don't know, when are they going to air this show? In July?
This show? Be out. It'll be out soon, folks. Right. Actually, you've already seen it by the time I say this.
Okay.
So it doesn't really matter.
That's why I'm here.
It'll be out soon.
That's
real
why I'm
soon.
here.
Not June. Might show it again in June. Actually, it'll be on the YouTube forever. As long as YouTube exists. So be careful what you say.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad you wore you look good.
Well, you got to get
fantastic.
Got to get the double chin kind of tucked away under
the. You got the
under
double
the
chin.
I no.
I didn't notice.
No
that.
double chin, but
I didn't notice.
Preventive measures, as they say. Preventive measures.
And so that's interesting because that relates to your father's experience, and there's a experience in your family of, can I even say this, he was in the camps, the most brutal thing of all. Yep. And today you're doing some work, but in a good way.
That's right.
With the very same subject.
That's right.
Of camps, refugee camps.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's where the segue is really that the Camp of All Saints, I have the good fortune since a number of years to be learning about humanitarian action. I've dedicated myself to that. So the Camp of All Saints that I know about is on the Turkey-Syria border. Anyway, I've come to be a humanitarian practitioner after a career in journalism, media, government. Now I was very much moved and touched by what happened in the Middle East, the Arab Spring 2011 and 12, and particularly about Syria, this mass exodus because Bashar Assad decided to hold on to power, and the way to do that is to create a humanitarian catastrophe. So half of the population is outside of Syria. They've been pushed out. And people know, and you know what, it's 2019, but it's still going on. Half the population has been displaced. And if you see the suffering, I mean, if you confront yourself with what's happening in Syria over the last 7 years, not only 500,000 people killed, but another 500,000 people missing, and 11,000 displaced. Half of those internally displaced. 11 million, thank you. 11 million, half the country, 11 million internally displaced. Half of them internally displaced, people don't know where they are. Yeah. The other half have come, many to Europe, gone to the camps. Yeah. And Turkey, the place where we operate, on the Turkish side of the Syrian border, there are 3 million refugees. So 3 million Syrians came north, sometimes 50, 60 miles, and they're traumatized, in bad shape, and Turkey was able to host them and offered, people like us and another 200 INGOs, meaning international non-governmental organizations, who wanted to try to alleviate the situation.
Yours is non-governmental. That's an important
That's right.
point. Who's behind you?
Well, we did our best to get funding from various sources. Yes, and I was bold. I was bold and cheeky. Maybe the viewers will forgive me. I called it the Solidarity Corps. Korpus Solidarności. This is something we got to talk about.
Well, this was another point we wanted to get to.
Something we're going to get to.
Sure.
Nevertheless, the Solidarity Corps, okay, it's a for the moment a makeshift operation. I did make the rounds in Warsaw in 2012-13 to get buy-in from the government in terms of, you know, material, support, maybe some funding, specialists, doctors, nurses, engineers, you know, people who can run. Poland has these capacities, but I didn't succeed. So I had to find people from all over, and we managed to look at.
What kind of people? You mean medical personnel?
Yes, the staff. We managed to. I was hoping the Poles, because, you know, solidarity is a beautiful term, and Poland, Solidarność, solidarity is something we grew up on it.
We know all about it.
We know all about it.
It's in our blood.
All the viewers know. The reason you guys are watching this show.
Even to us who grew up in the South.
Growing up in the South of Poland, the global South, in South Africa, whoever, you know, in the south side of the track, south side of Chicago, whatever, even in the north, everybody knows what solidarity is.
South side of Virginia.
And Poland is associated with solidarity. But I'm thinking we got to come up with solidarity 2.0. Right? The legacy's got to continue. Now, I tried to make that case in 2012-13 to the powers that be that this is a time to react. Don't sit on the fence, right? This is a time to react, because Poland's greatest export, Will, you may agree, is not vodka. It's good, but it's not Poland's greatest export. Neither is it agro-tourism. Nice, right? But it's not the best. The best is the Polish sense of mission, improvisation, their ability to get stuff done in difficult conditions. And are we not the heirs of John Paul II, St. John Paul? Are we not the heirs? And what does it say? Blessed be the peacemakers. They will be called the sons of God, right? So Poland, just as a reminder, and this is my little bully pulpit, it had a great chance.
Go ahead.
Yeah, 2012, Will.
Yeah, I agree.
Second half of 2012, Poland had what was called the 6-month rotating presidency in the European Union. 6-month rotating presidency. What does that mean? It means they could set the agenda for the European Council. And the Arab Spring had just exploded. Now, Poland has the experience of the round table. Remember the round table talk?
1989, spring.
Yeah. Perfect. Those round table talks are not only the table, the round table is an exportable piece of merchandise, but the spirit of getting people together. And I was going crazy at that time. I was telling all the folks, Tusk, Sikorski, I said, let's get the round table, take that piece of furniture, and let's get the people to Warsaw. And let's get talking, because there's going to be a bloodbath. And, well, it didn't happen. You know, a million dead later and a hot conflict going on. Poland has a role to play. But why do I mention that? Solidarity 2.0 means that Poland can, could, and should easily create the world's best humanitarian unit. And you heard it here. We have doctors, nurses, missionaries, engineers, the spirit of volunteerism in Poland. Poland has got this kind of a tradition. The idea is, is to get up and get out, and the government needs to, all they need to do, they don't need to give me any money, but the young people that want to come and help the Solidarity Corps, they need at least 6 months of health care, or their basics covered when they leave the country. So so
you're covering the basics.
We'll give them sleep, we'll give them a little money, we'll give them tents, we'll give them food, let them do their thing, but let the stuff that they forfeit at home. And here's the first takeaway. Intelligent humanitarian aid. It's about getting people in on rotations, specialists, for 6 months, but look after their needs at home for the time that they come. Okay, so the Solidarity Corps can be done by Poland. It doesn't cost a lot of money, very inexpensive for the taxpayer. The taxpayer who is paying, and this will be my last sentence, taxpayer is already paying $1 billion zlotys a year, the Polish taxpayer, to upkeep materiel which is sitting stockpiled is sitting. Dubious contractors are maintaining stuff which will never be used, and we got the need for meals ready to eat, for blankets, for tents, for old trucks. All that stuff can be used in the humanitarian sector, and add on to that Polish personnel that can maintain it. So it means that at a camp like in Turkey, we have South Sudan, one in Greece. You can put the Polish flag into the soil.
You got one in Ethiopia too, right?
Got one in Ethiopia, just setting up. Small thing, but the Polish flag should be in the soil. It shouldn't be me, doing this by myself, right?
Good.
So it can be done. There's intelligent ways to do it nowadays, and this is how we got talking a couple of months ago. This is an important issue, and I think Poland has a great role to play.
Well,
so
Poland has great professionals and a great university system that produces great professionals, and
yes, it does.
Across, famous for engineers particularly abroad over
yes,
the years, and a lot of doctors who's gone, and that's the sort of help you could use.
Sensational doctors,
doctors and nurses, right?
and military people. I mean, the Polish military in the last 15 years. This is a big discussion. How the configuration of the Polish military. So, Afghanistan, Iraq. NATO said, the US of A, our boys said, well, Poland has to have an expeditionary footprint. We've got to do expeditions in faraway countries, Afghanistan and Iraq, and Central South there in Iraq, well, South again, right? It was held down by General Waldemar Skrzypczak, who I salute today because he's come and offered me fine advice on the Solidarity Corps, and this is a premier logistician. Anyway, an accomplished general. But the point here is that today Poland is saying, probably smartly, territorial defense. So we've gone from Tora Bora, where I think you've been, we've gone from Pakistan-Afghanistan border, from Iraq coming back and doing
I was there in 2001. Yeah.
2001.
As a reporter.
You were there as a reporter.
Not for black water or something like that. No, just a reporter.
Listen, whatever the color of the water. It was muddy. The waters were muddy.
It was extremely muddy.
So the expeditionary, I'm saying the experience of the expeditionary military engagement the Poles have can be used beautifully for humanitarian aid. The people are there. They're 40 years old, 45, they have nothing to do. Think about all the potential people who have great experience. Let's get these people together. Viewers, come. Let's create the Solidarity Corps. Let that be the next big thing.
Let that be a new legacy.
Ain't that something that we can kind of get rid of the political divide and show Poland's best to get the red and white flag into the ground in the places where there's a lot of need? Let's think about that. Maybe this conversation can contribute to getting it rolling.
Continue, I'm sure. Would you like to introduce a clip? You got a clip for us, or?
Yeah, there will be a brief.
What's that clip?
The clip is just of one of the camps called QTY-1, which is in the Gaziantep area.
And it's a video clip.
It's a video. It's a video. Shows the modest conditions that we were able to create there at the camp.
All right. Well, let's take a break and look at that clip, and we'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us on There's a Will. We'll be right back. Mark Rafael. Hi, everybody. It's time for more There's a Will. Yes, I know. Why do we do this? We do it for you, and that's why we're here. And back to my guest, Mark Rafael. Fascinating guy. Great hair, I wanted to tell you. You got a mane of hair. You look like you should be conducting an orchestra.
That's right. It's the Paderewski unruly curls. Independence curls. You know, they work until 12 noon because the gel does its thing, but thereafter, control is lost. So now, what time is it? Noon? When we have a beer at 9 o'clock or something like that, you'll see a different man. The stuff just goes crazy. Now no way to subdue it, but we thank God for hair. Yeah. Thank God for hair.
Your hair is good.
Hair is good. Your hair is great, too.
Yeah. But my hair, I have to iron it in place. I got up this morning. I have a person who comes in and they iron my hair in place.
Right. What about the paint?
The paint. What?
That's not for the show.
The paint?
Those are cosmetic tips, not for the show, okay?
The paint? I'm not a painter.
Yeah,
yeah, I wanted to tell the folks, as Mr. Obama used to call them all the time, the folks.
The good folks out there.
That's not condescending. Yeah. Anyway, the people out there, the audience, I thought it was fascinating when I first met you, because after we were introduced by a good friend of ours, and a mutual friend, and it was at an event, and we got to talking. I said, he says, oh, this guy travels a lot, and you traveled a lot. Maybe you should meet. And I went, okay, sounds good. And then we started talking, and we realized that you had grown up, or your father had been working in Munich. Did you grow up there at all?
Yes, well, you know.
A little bit.
Yeah, in a number of countries before age 18 in 3 countries. So sometime adolescent years in Munich, Germany. That's right.
There you go. And, but you your father was working with Jaś Tiskiewicz, who was famous for jazz on Radio Free Europe and Radio Liberty, which was a huge thing under communism. This was a big deal. And your dad was the editor-in-chief of Radio Free Europe, which is located. The building is still there. Is it not part of the University of Munich?
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
And it's in the Englischer Garten in Munich. Beautiful spot, actually.
Beautiful spot.
Fantastic. Yeah.
By the way, I mean, excellent memory you have. And Jan Tiskiewicz, he wrote a lovely book called Aristokrata bez kravata. Nice book, describing also his emigre years. Yeah, but Radio Free Europe.
Interesting guy.
Radio Free Europe in Munich, Germany, was started in 1952. And it was probably one of the best United States foreign policy initiatives ever. Okay?
I agree.
From 1952 to 1992, for 40 years, Radio Free Europe was broadcasting from Munich, Germany, as the voice of free Europe, in this case, free Poland, And my good godfather, Jan NOWAKOWSKI, was the director. My dad was the editor-in-chief, right? And amongst the great stellar people that were doing the broadcast, and in Poland, they had 80% market share. You know, because we're talking about a lockdown country, and from Munich, people were getting to understand what was going on. It means the Soviet could not even say that the moon landing, Neil Armstrong,
fake.
Those are your words, I just heard that it was fake.
So
now they got us thinking that it's fake.
Well, but
right?
he said the eagle has landed.
The eagle has landed.
And other
a small step for me, a great step. And he was a golf player, Neil Armstrong. Yeah. He wanted to hit that.
He never was on the moon, by the way.
You see?
That's all fake.
So that's what the Soviet got you thinking.
Come
on, buddy.
They're still saying
where's your patriotism? You buy into that?
No, of course not.
I was there. No, I wasn't there.
Of course I don't buy into that. But that's what the Russians still putting that out there.
They're putting out there. Yeah. Everybody. I mean, it's in our own minds.
Maybe they
it could be fake. It's too good to be, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. Too good to be true. And the Chinese are on the dark side, on the Pink Floyd side of the moon. Check it out.
With Hitler. He's up there too.
By the way,
the H word.
The H bomb, and no good day. I mean, let me ask the viewers: has there ever been a day in your life where the word Hitler hasn't been mentioned? I just recollected that.
Impossible.
You know, So that's the Antichrist, the demon. How he comes in? He's even come to the show.
Yeah.
right? There he is. But can there be a day...
In his short pants.
Like Socrates, the soccer player. Well, okay.
Now, they're lederhosen, aren't they?
Back, the lederhosen, yeah. By the way, so Radio Free Europe we spoke about.
Paper.
It was in Munich, Germany, and Bavaria.
Yeah.
And now to the lederhosen, because I got a little, so 30 seconds on later. Lederhosen are the leather pants worn by Bavarians only. They wear them, they keep them on, and the mountaineers have leather pants.
And the capital of Bavaria, Munich.
Is Munich. Capital of Bavaria is Munich.
So it ties together somehow.
It ties together. And now, one day, the village doctor went in Bavaria, in the mountains of Bavaria, went high up to the highest mountain village. And in the last hut, there was an old guy called Ludwig. And the Bavarians call him Lugi. Lugi is Ludwig, yeah? Lou. And the doctor gets to him and he says, Ludwig, you haven't been down to the village for a long time. I need to check you out. I'm the doctor. And Ludwig goes, oh, doctor, what do you need from me? Ludwig, I need blood sample, urine sample, feces, and semen, just to see how you're doing. Okay? That's a
little bit investigative to me.
No, 30 years he hadn't been to the village. Okay. And Ludwig says, doctor, just take my leather trousers with you.
Your lederhosen.
You're not supposed to wash the lederhosen with. Don't wash it.
Who wants to wear these stinky trousers like that?
It's a DNA sample.
It's a DNA
par excellence. So, you know. Yeah. Hey, they've got the.
I don't think I want to think about Hitler's lederhosen.
In a rough economy,
that's pretty disgusting.
And so I don't know what happened with Ludwig later, but it's still happening.
Hey, that's a joke, right? That's a joke. You and I like to trade jokes. And let's do it now. Let's trade a joke. And now, the shortest joke to me is what you're always the shortest joke is what you're always looking for.
Right.
Yeah. How about that? No, Johnny Carson. But a bad imitation. But the shortest joke is good. I always remember one. It's where you give the premise and the payoff is the next line.
Okay.
Okay. The setup and the premise are together. The premise and the setup are together, and then the payoff is right.
Hi to the editor, whoever's going to edit this out. But anyway.
No.
Good.
This is clean.
Good.
Yeah. So this is a family show. It's not. I mean, you know. I mean, what kind of family? The Manson family? I mean, you know. But
the Kelly family.
Come on.
All right. Where are you going with this?
Yeah. The joke is this, which I heard. It's not my joke. Heard it on the YouTube from real comedians. It was here's the joke. Here's the setup. Julia Roberts is divorcing Lyle Lovett some time ago. Why? Because she's Julia Roberts and he's Lyle Lovett. Okay. That's a great joke. Now I got one.
That's a good one.
I got one. It's kind of following the same thing because the idea is to polish it till you can get it really succinct, if you can. You got a few of these too.
Yeah.
Which you've already told me, so I'm not upstaging you. Yeah, I know you've got plenty in your repertoire. But the clean ones, please. But the other, my joke goes, the recent one, goes, Macron is now Micron.
Ooh.
And his wife is looking for a younger man. Okay, so that's two payoffs.
That's very, very intricate.
It's not bad.
Louis Macron.
Yeah. What? Macaroni?
They call him Louis Macron.
Do they call him Louis?
In the UK, they call him Louis Macron. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Emmanuel is
There's a lot of things I don't know. That's another one of them that I don't know.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But talking about traveling.
You got a joke for me?
Well, I'm talking about traveling.
Okay.
And Afghanistan, we had just mentioned. So I'd been there recently, and this is probably a real story. So after a long, hard battle, a Mujahideen fighter comes back to his village, you know, and as he walks down towards his village, he sees a small kiosk. And it's very hot, so the soldier is very thirsty. He asks the kiosk owner, he says, water, give me water, please. And the kiosk owner says, sir, brave soldier, we don't carry water at this establishment.
Wait a second, he's like a bushman from the Kalahari?
Well, it's a hard battle.
Was that the accent? I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
Water, give me water. Give me water.
Okay.
Give me water.
All right, very
good. The kiosk owner in the Afghan village says, sorry, sir, we don't carry water at this establishment, but what I can get you is a silk tie.
Okay.
The mujahideen, the soldier says, old man, I can kill you. Give me water now. The kiosk owner says, good soldier, as I told you, I can give you a Giorgio Armani silk tie for $5. Okay?
Wow, that's good.
We don't carry water, but if it's really water that you want, go across the mountain to the other side, and there's a fine hotel. They'll give you all the ice water that you want. The soldier goes, comes back. When he comes back at the end of the day, the kiosk owner sees the soldier, and he says, brave soldier, did you find the hotel? And the mujahideen soldier says, yes, yes, I found it, but they wouldn't let me in without the tie.
You know why that's a good joke?
That's a traveling joke.
It's a great joke. It's a great joke. It's very atmospheric. But the reason that's so good is because it's like a good short story. You can see, if you think about it carefully, you can see the punchline coming. So there are hints about what the punchline
globalization in Afghanistan. But I'm doing your work for you. Now you talk.
What,
Brother
I
Will.
have to talk?
You talk. Do the viewers know that Will they know the book that you've published. They know you've been to the Central America, out to Afghanistan, out to Iraq. You've been out there. The reasons why are, questions, but it doesn't matter. we're in Warsaw, and where there's a will, there's a way.
Where there's a will, there's a way. There's a will, apparently.
There's a will.
No, we got to change the name of this show. Let's call it, maybe, There's a Rafael.
Where there's a Tadeusz.
There's a Tadeusz?
Tadeusz, a nice Polish name. Polish people out there.
Thaddeus.
Whoever's watching this, I'm assuming somebody's watching the show.
Yeah. Is it Theodore? Somebody's watching the show. It's PolandDaily.com.
Okay.
On the YouTube.
All right. Poland Daily.
Oh, I like this picture.
Poland.
Look at that. I like this
is
picture.
For Poland. Kochamy Polskę.
That's a nice picture.
Czy też uczycie się po polsku? Because look, I mean, my only claim to fame is that Polish language is hard, right?
Yeah.
Polski język jest szalenie trudny, a mój ojciec mnie terroryzował polskością. I po długiej pracy nauczyłem się po polsku. Now, don't get discouraged, it's a hard language. And by the way, people say you speak it beautifully. That's why I really admire you, Will, because there are not many non-blood Poles.
Yeah, but that's not true that I speak it beautifully.
You speak it very beautifully. Yeah. You speak it perfectly well.
Yeah.
And there's a number of people who are non-Polish who speak Polish and who are totally sold on the Polish soul, psyche, ladies, on the Polish ladies, on the food. That's easier. But the language is harder than hell. And it's the hardest language in the world.
I like to take a Polish lady on a date. Now, I'm going to tell you how it goes.
Yeah.
I'd taken her there to the McDonald's, because I follow after our honorable president, who likes the fast food.
Right.
And I want to honor him, so I take him. Okay, I save a little money. Okay.
The dollar special.
Yeah, well, and I've got coupons. Then, if she's really nice, I'll take her over and sit on the steps of the column Zygmunt over in the Old Town, and throw, small change to the tourists walking by while we drink from a paper bag some fine wine.
Okay.
From one of the not too expensive.
Now, this is the example of the ugly American. He thought he could come to Eastern Europe, right?
What?
Come up there, show up there, right? In his Hugh Hefner, whatever. But he gets these Polish ladies on the cheap, feeding them carton wine on the steps of Zygmunt. What would Zygmunt up there on the statue say if he heard that? You know what? He's going to send some bird crap on your glasses. He's going to send a pigeon bombing run?
Pigeon bombing run.
Zygmunt will do it, all right?
Actually, you can't. That did happen the last time.
Don't get Polish ladies on the cheap. Take them to the opera. Take them to the opera, first of all. Take him to the Warsaw Philharmonic.
Okay,
Come on, Will.
Let me write this down.
The dollar special at McDonald's or wherever is not the way to go.
Okay, wait a second. I got to make a note of this.
Not the way to go.
Opera,
that's right.
Opera, then what?
Warsaw Philharmonic.
Philharmonic.
Symphonia Juventus.
What does that mean?
It's a big word. That's a big word for a 12-year-old. It's one of those Greek words. Yeah.
One of those Greek words. Okay, and what next?
How about the Sinfonia Juventus? Have you heard that? The young symphony players?
No, I haven't heard
They're
that.
phenomenal. They go all around the world. And you guys, if you see the Sinfonia Juventus.
Warszawa, I know.
Yeah, Sinfonia, but these are the young players of the Warsaw Symphony.
Yeah, great.
It's a smaller troupe, but they're world class, and they go worldwide. So that's.
And what about a restaurant? Where should I go? If not McDonald's, I'm lost.
Yeah, you are lost.
TGI Fridays, man.
Listen, just order in.
That's too expensive.
Now they've got Uber Eats, right? We're not advertising nothing, but who is delivering that? Punjabis, Bangladeshis, they'll come in and they'll polish up your English, right? They'll come. So check this out. People have walked from Bangladesh to Poland, right? In order to distribute
the food.
American junk food to hungry Poles who are behind their computers. Their keyboards are full of ketchup, and it's the good Hindu.
True.
The Hindu is knocking on the door. He's saying, whatever. It's like crazy, man.
It's wild.
But globalization is really effed up, or is it great?
It's weird.
Well, I mean, we're here.
Suddenly, all these people have arrived.
Right.
And and sometimes I feel like I'm back in Goa.
Yeah.
You know, with the guys. But I saw a guy
What does
the other
Goa
day.
mean in Polish? Naked.
Oh, yes.
Is that what you're referring to?
Naked, no. I was talking about Goa in India.
Oh, I see.
No.
Okay.
In India.
Goa in India, talking about the food delivery.
Yeah,
all the good food.
The food
street
delivery,
food.
yeah. And you got me there with a verbal zinger, I call them. Call it a verbal.
They have a zinger at that chicken place,
folks.
too. That sandwich,
It gets me every time.
Spicy.
Gets me every time.
Spicy.
No, what I was talking about was I was at one of the fine fast food establishments favored by our president not long ago. Begins with an M, and I'll leave it to the folks to figure out what that is. And there was a stocky fellow, not very tall, standing there. I said, "Good Lord, you're a Gurkha, aren't you?" And he says, "How did you know?" He didn't say it like that, but I'm not very good on accents.
Wow.
And he said, "Of course, yes, I am from, what's it called? Nepal." Nepal, right? And I said, I thought so, because you look like a Nepalese.
Now, he was a client or he was behind the counter taking your order?
He was delivery guy. He was picking up. Young guy, he's studying business.
A Gurkha.
Studying business. A Gurkha delivery man.
And was he delivering gherkins?
He was not delivering...
It was a cucumber meal, the special.
He was not delivering gherkins, but that is a good idea. Gurkhas for gherkins.
Let's start a franchise.
Yeah, I think we should.
Viewers are entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
Do the gherkins and have only Nepalese Gurkhas serving it. But they're very bellicose. I mean, these Gurkhas are fighters, right? The British,
they're fighters.
The British use them
they're famous for fighting. And when you say, of course he's Nepalese, but when you say Gurkha, immediately their eyes light up. They like
light
that
up
because they know the reputation of the Gurkhas in the British Army during the Imperial Age they were amazing, an amazing contingent in the British Army. So they like it when you say Gurkha.
That's right.
They take it as a term of respect. But anyway, he's studying business, and it is amazing how many of these people you have from the Indian, what used to be known as the Indian subcontinent, coming here to deliver food. It's quite incredible.
And many have come by foot. I met a chap in Paris, and the first thing they do, so they walk from Chittagong in Bangladesh to Paris.
Right.
How's that for a pilgrimage? Okay.
He did what? Tell us.
He delivers roses. So if you see the guys with the roses who are going into restaurants and say, "Roses for madam, roses for madam," these chaps have walked, 5,000 miles, all right.
What, from where?
From Bangladesh, walked.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, walked and gotten themselves, for instance, into Europe, into France, and they are in the restaurants distributing roses.
You can't walk to
You can walk. You can do anything. Come on, you know.
Where do you go? Walk across North Africa and come across?
No, you walk across. You walk across Central Asia. You get to Turkey, and there's ways to get.
And then they just take their time.
And there's 26 in a room.
Yeah.
They all get up at the crack of dawn in the outskirts of Paris and distribute the roses. And they say roses, right? So imagine. I mean, this is that's also the story of migration.
It's a true story, folks. I think.
Go to Paris.
Yeah.
No, I mean you'll see them by the dozens and dozens.
Yeah.
You're
in
that's
Paris
the first
a lot.
job.
I haven't been there for a while.
In Paris, quite a bit.
Yeah. You're a professor there.
A lecture. Only lecture.
Yeah.
Lecture, and lecture on humanitarian practice, because humanitarianism, we spoke about it. is an evolving field, very interesting field.
Yeah.
And it includes sociology, anthropology, right, medicine, history, you know, a lot of aspects. And I think that, you know, humanitarian aid and humanitarian delivery, intelligent humanitarian delivery is going to be a key knowledge for the 21st century, because it's going to be the age of great migration, great upheaval, climatic, you know, now you have what you call the climate change refugees. It's just happening. So that's a field which, of course, is evolving. And there's a new, you know, we're trying to set up what the knowledge or the compendium might be. And in Paris, I do a couple hours per semester. And I'm building that, though. This is a body of knowledge which I'm working on, learning myself, and it's very, very much evolving, especially with, you know, with volunteerism on one side, online donations. A lot can be done, and we spoke about it just a while ago about the Solidarity Corps and the stuff that
you started as a journalist.
I did start.
And then you made your way, I mean, as I did, and you made your way through, well, tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, journalism was, well, being the son of a radio broadcaster and a grandson, my grandfather, Stanisław NOWAKOWSKI, was a very brave young man who returned from the United States in 1918, in 1919, when Poland became free. Stanisław NOWAKOWSKI, at age 24, returned from the United States. He had just gotten to the United States, went to Ohio, Toledo, Ohio, started a newspaper there. But then when the Polish Liberty Bell rang, he returned back to do what? To work on the plebiscite. There was a plebiscite organized after World War I, after the Versailles Treaty. The League of Nations, precursor to the United Nations, said that the disputed territory between Poland and Germany should be decided by plebiscite. So my grandfather knew that he had to get into these areas, the contested areas, and mobilize the public to go and vote in the plebiscite, so that this particular place, this will be the corridor to Gdańsk, right? The area around Danzig, Gdańsk.
Polish corridor.
The Polish corridor, and then the areas of East Prussia, which is Warmia and Mazury. That was all subject to the, again,
there we go,
heavy stuff, heavy
this
stuff.
Place holds up.
So the plebiscite was organized by him,
right? But
he was also then an editor of a newspaper. So I'm just saying the journalism trade runs through our...
it's in your blood.
Runs through the blood. That's right. But of course, Poland didn't do well in that plebiscite. The Germans lost, although the population balance was maybe even. But my grandfather, Stanisław, also paid the ultimate price at age 44, sent to Dachau, lost his life, murdered. And imagine, he came back from the United States to do this. The Germans remembered that he was on the hit list, on the shit list. 3 September 1939, Bydgoszcz City, the so-called Krwawa Niedziela, Bromberger Blutsonntag, they called it. Third day of the war, second day of the war, the Germans came. And
they took him.
And they took him, and including many prominent members of the city. Because Bydgoszcz was close to the German border right then. They nabbed him, and it was the end. So but he was the editor also.
So you're 3 generations.
3 generations back.
Of editorial people.
3 generations of unruly, curly hair. And the grandfather had him too. God bless him.
I'll give you my ironer.
Yeah, I need to
loan you my ironer.
Yeah, for the piano.
It's one of those. It's actually that Nepalese guy. Yeah. He needed some extra money.
That's right. So journalism, I found, look, I had to get out of the, this whole idea, and some of the viewers may know that, you know, having Polish heritage and then growing up in the States as an American, you know, you've always got that Polish heritage in the background. Not only Poles, but Poles in particular. We're very messianic, right? So they'll never leave you alone, right? You could be playing baseball with Gonzalez, but then they'll say, czy czytałeś pana Tadeusza? You know, it's a very, you know, there's a highbrow.
Have you read Pan Tadeusz?
Have you read the Pan Tadeusz?
For people who don't know any Polish.
So Pan Tadeusz, which is the Polish epic, and there's
epic poem by Mickiewicz, of course.
Adam Mickiewicz. So the Polish immigrants are very keen to keep the heritage going, but that's hard when you're growing up playing baseball, like I said, in the Sandlot. You've got to do this kind of a balance. You have your alter ego, and then your life every day, right? Which is growing up amongst the boys trying to get it, you know, trying to get it. So my escape from that pressure chamber, although the social and cultural capital that I received from these old Poles who I grew up amongst is invaluable. I mean, social capital is the best thing a parent can give you, right? Of course.
Connections, etc. Yeah.
Yeah, but also cultural capital, knowledge. You know, these are beautiful things.
Know-how and knowledge.
Know-how, knowledge, but also understanding. You know, the marathon of generations. The marathon of generations. Why? Because
I completely agree. But this is the thing that's lost on a lot of people. I do agree with you. It's absolutely true. The social capital, the intellectual capital, even more than economic capital, are incredibly important in forming the next generation.
That's right.
And we have to make sure that doesn't go bankrupt. Listen, we could talk forever about, you got to come back. We could
hopefully,
or once we get Skype hooked up,
hopefully
we can talk all the time.
Well, we can. Hopefully.
I know that you're very busy, and
I'm
really
happy
appreciate
to be
you
here.
coming
And
in.
I like Poland Daily. Shout out to the viewers. Happy New Year.
PolandDaily.com.
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 Yeah.
Lots of interviews, lots more coming. Why do we do it? We do it for you. And we talk about Poland, and we talk about other things with great guests like Mark Rafael. I only wish, man, your hair looks great on there. I only wish we could talk even longer. I could talk to you for days.
It's a good hair day for us. All right. God bless you guys.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming out.
Hey, stay tuned. We'll be back with more great shows. And my name's Will. There is one. And hope you have a great day and a better tomorrow. See you later.